Hello if you were new. I've been a pretty open guy throughout my time on YouTube, and that's mainly because I feel like there's no question that should be off the table in my eyes. If people resonate with a more open version of myself, I feel like I can adapt and be as open as I can be. Let's see how far this can bend kind of mentality. And maybe that's a good enough reason to find some boundaries in today's video. That's kind of always been my problem. I always just play with things until they break, because how else are you supposed to know the limits of something? More and more I do these videos, the more I keep questioning how much of myself to show on camera. How much of it is too much to the point where it's just disingenuous. Depth requires time commitment. Thankfully, life is all about wasting time. I decided to write a 6,000 word script about my favorite RPGs, specifically ones that start you off in failure. Dissect why I love these games, why I want to talk about them, what are boundaries, and what does it mean to fail. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're doing well. My name is Tyler. I'm going to be talking about some games and what they mean to me. Without further ado, let's boot this thing up and play some fucking games. These are the games I'm going to be talking about. So let's start with my introduction into the RPG genre. In the beginning of Fallout New Vegas, you get shot in the head, and you can't fail any harder than that. What a game to start us off on. An Xbox 360 game I found in a bin at Big Lots in 2011. First time I played this game, I was nursed back to health by Doc Mitchell. Thought character creation was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen. Then, I was on a mission to find the man that shot me in the head. And then promptly stopped playing after because I thought it was boring. All this New Vegas story and charm went straight over my head. But you know, you grow up, your tastes are more refined, and I gave this game another chance after thoroughly enjoying my 100+ hours playing Skyrim. 15-ish playthroughs later, and I fell in love ever since. When the game starts you off with you losing everything, there's truly nowhere to go but up. With each quest, with each level progression, you can talk your way out of any situation if you're a high enough skill level. It's like little things like that that make progression feel earned. It feels nice to play this game. The game where you can live out every intrusive thought, overthrow the government, mod the hell out of it, and get an entirely new game altogether. There's not much more about this game that hasn't already been said in a 2-hour video essay by someone else. I just wanted to touch on this game in the beginning so it helped prove my point and just wanted to make my pilgrimage to the Mojave and pay my respects. And also, I didn't know you can still mess up talking your way out of the final boss, even though you are a high enough level. I found that out this year. You can be a high enough level, work as hard as you possibly can, evolve from dumb vagabond loser to silver-tongued omnipotent being, and still say the wrong things, and at the end of the day, you gotta fight them anyway. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't enough. In a game like Disco Elysium, if you try too hard to be some kind of superstar, you're gonna crash and burn. Where to begin with this game? Enchanté. Je m'appelle Tyler. Disco Elysium is an amnesiac detective role-playing game. You play as heartbroken, alcoholic, superstar cop Harry Dubois, but we don't know all that yet. We don't remember who we are.
There's a dead body behind the hostel cafeteria. Precinct 57 sent their finest. Precinct 41 sent you.
Let's bail! Sounds like a responsibility!
For a police detective RPG, it can be very anti-cop at times. Every decision you make is truly yours in Disco Elysium. The freedom of player choice in this game is very exciting, and also your worst fucking enemy. You could follow fascist ideologies, agree with every racist you come across, and there are a few, sing the saddest song you've ever heard for karaoke night.
None of this matters.
Call your ex-fiancée over a payphone in the middle of the night just to tell her that you miss her. Throw rocks at seagulls. Punch a kid. All these things could happen because you were so curious what would happen if you actually committed to these things. Just because you can say it doesn't mean that you should. Now it doesn't feel good when your partner Kim thinks very little of your closed-minded racist beliefs. This game encourages failure, and it wants you to lay in the bed that you made for yourself.
What the fuck? Oh my god, it's forcing you to say it!
Even when you try to do the right thing, everything can fall apart in an instant, without notice, like most disasters.
Pretty good. Wow.
Time to
Oh my!
As quickly as it fell apart, now the moment has passed. Nothing left to do but to move forward. Damn.
42%? Go fuck yourself. I'm not doing that. Just for to be like, oh, boo, you stink.
The story, the music, the characters, the fucking voice acting.
You should pick that fat, juicy cigarette butt from the tray, light it up, and smoke the living shit out of it.
It's top-notch, eloquently spoken for. Thoughtful writing and careful planning of every moving part in this game, the same technical proficiency as a watchmaker. It really feels like they thought of everything, of how everyone was going to play this game. And I think that's the kind of mindset you have to go into this thing, to create a world, let alone a world for an RPG game. I'm noticing all of the artistic endeavors put into this game that I didn't see through my first playthrough. Everything is interwoven in this world. How time works in this game, the only way time moves forward is if you talk to people, if you do your job. And by doing your job, you gotta interrogate suspects, investigate the crime scene, pretty much immerse yourself to progress the story. Every little detail adds that much depth.
What if you had an inventory for thoughts? That alone is reason enough to try and chase it for 4 years, and you're gonna be spending a huge amount of time questioning people. What is the loot of conversations? And the answer is ideas.
It's kind of neat if you actually cared about dialogue in RPGs. You pick up ideas from conversations you have with the city folk. They will produce a thought. You can internalize it for perks and bonuses and XP and all that good stuff. For me, I love that people have taken a genuine stab at trying to recreate how people think and conversate. I think that's just a huge reason why I really dig RPGs. All the while, your entire body and nervous system is at war with each other, trying to talk all at once to try to get you to listen to one over the other.
Calm down. Anyone watching can see you're doing nothing. Just keep it professional.
Fuck that! Confront him!
As someone that has recently just played the game, I wanted to tackle this theme of failure for this video. Having that situation get under your skin and staying there. I want to talk about the things that no one wants to talk about. This game talks about things that we don't want to talk about. Politics, working class ideologies, Marxism, communism, racism, traditionalism, war. This game wears it like a badge of honor. I started paying more attention to politics whether I wanted to or not, in game and real life. Topics that are too daunting for me to try and write in a video essay, let alone a 30+ hour video game. Things I've heard in passing growing up and never really paid too much mind to these topics. And after all these years of not really giving things a second thought, here they were, now staring me in the face. Things masterfully written before me on topics that not only affected me, it was also affecting people in my country. Humanism is the focal point of Disco Elysium. Humanity, the world perceived by you, beams of light that only you can see. A fictional religious figure you'll come across in the game named Dolores Day, a figurehead of DeLoreanism, and is regarded as the greatest human who ever lived. DeLoreanism is an in-game religion. To my understanding, is just humanism, but viewed as a religion. Since I love analyzing the emotional side of my favorite things, I'm not looking for pity. I'm just saying I've been there before. We don't really expect failure. We never anticipate it, therefore we can never prep for it. There's this dream sequence, possibly a reoccurring nightmare, where you're transported to the final moments of seeing and being with our main protagonist's ex-fiancé. Remember, he's an amnesiac, meaning that this ex is represented by the figurehead of innocence, beauty, and humanity itself, Dolores Day, a perfect, malleable character, allowing anyone to project whoever comes to mind, if anyone comes to mind. And maybe I'm showing too much of my hand, making this whole thing just a little bit more personal. So all Harry knows about her, really, is that this person hurt us bad, and we are actively pleading with whoever this is to stay, to beg someone to not leave your life. Is this selfish of me to beg someone to reconsider something that will ultimately make them happier? You start stooping so low as to try and make her feel sorry for you. Harry doesn't have much. We don't have much. That's being propped up by a cannon monster. I just wanted everyone to know that. The dream goes on. Maybe listening to a suggestion you shouldn't have heard in the first place. Choosing it out of desperation. Simply because it was there. And you were simply running out of options. To save whatever was left of your whole world being destroyed by someone that's moved on. It was kind of like seeing all the different combinations of how things could have played out. and just realizing that nothing would have mattered because the other person is checked out. Giving me that closure I never thought I'd get, really. Just something I'm still learning to control, and that's letting things go. Maybe we should take a break from this and circle back, maybe? Yeah? Maybe play something nice and light. A nice palate cleanser, too. Oh, can a girl breathe? Omori is a crowd-funded RPG Maker horror game made in 2020 that ripped my heart out in 2021, gearing more towards a subgenre of RPGs, the JRPG, based off of a webcomic of the same name. Omori is short for Hikikomori. Follow the life and times of a kid named Sunny and his struggles with depression, guilt, and being an adolescent hermit. This game tackles the idea of failing yourself, letting bitterness win and take a hold of you. The game starts you off in white space, a safe space for Omori, going on make-believe adventures with his fake childhood friends. He then wakes up in the real world, finding it easier to just act like nothing happened. Sunny's core friend group disbanded after Sunny's sister Mari committed suicide, and having all of them dealing with their own grief in their own way, they started to drift apart and they don't really talk anymore. I can go on about the art, the music, the amount of time it took to make this game. I love this game. Omori is a very beautiful game, made in something so accessible as RPG Maker. JRPGs, for those that don't know, are more focused on strategic gameplay and turn-based combat. If that sounds boring to you, it's because it is. It's something that this game and Persona 5 do very well, and it's making turn-based combat unique and fluid. I had fun with it, and it was something I didn't know turn-based combat could be. I'm gonna level with you. Sunny's got a horrible secret. Self-hatred and guilt are eating Sunny alive. A protagonist who fights for what he feels like is right, but he isn't saving the world. After you make all these beautiful connections with his friends, it's revealed later in the game that Sunny accidentally killed his sister, and with the assistance of his friend Basil, cover it up and make it look like a suicide, so they don't get in trouble. It's a secret so horrible that he truly cannot tell a living soul. This safe space that he created to never think of the darkness ever again. White space, black space, light and dark, yin, yang, yo. The choices he made, how he chose to react to the traumatic event, a problem festering into something insidious. So if you continue to fail yourself, then you can't go on with your life just constantly degrading yourself and thinking you deserve every misfortune that comes your way. That is no way to live. Plucking those little embers of hope out of you as soon as they surface, because you think you deserve that, that's when you need to learn the importance of forgiveness. In life, you can be alone or forgiving. Something I never understood was forgiving people that don't deserve forgiveness. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with one of my friends that changed my outlook on that forever. I'm not a very religious person, but I have friends and family members who are. My friend goes on to tell me, Christians often view hate as a form of murder. He says it's why we preach forgiveness. We forgive others not because they deserve it, but because it's the right thing to do. And I had never thought of it like that. Sometimes insight is better than immediate change. Amazing things can happen with very little required. Even change in someone like Sunny. Humans, whether they like it or not, are constantly evolving and changing, facing an uncomfortable truth that's difficult for others to stomach, but it's better than living in this kind of torment for the rest of your life. Second chances are scary to give to people, but it's necessary to move forward. The first step is to maybe give yourself a second chance. To break cycles you don't like, you need to break boundaries. And there are healthy boundaries, sure. Maybe not saying everything that comes to mind, but saying what's important. But have the bravery to be open without fear. That benefits yourself and others. The people that care about you, the people that give a shit about you. I think we should actually take a breather for a moment. We've talked about real and fake religions for too long. Let's talk about our final game of the day. One of, if not, my favorite game of all time. Persona 5! I don't own it on Steam. Persona 5. We'll be talking about Persona 5 Royal, because that game has a grappling hook. Persona 5, the story starts you off as a teenage felon. Your local government has failed you yet again, as you fulfill your civic duty of defending someone from assault, and you are punished by the fullest extent of the law. Persona 5 is part life sim, part dungeon crawler, all 120 plus hour turn-based JRPG. Persona 5 Royal adds a lot to the base game. It adds an entirely new character, dungeon, and a bunch of other stuff. You start the game with a failure that's not even your own. All that and still going to high school, you know how it goes. This all does not sit well in the beginning, to a point where even our main protagonist questions his choices that day. Should he have minded his own business despite going out of his way to do what he thought was right? An ideology and moral code you've had your whole life is deemed wrong by everyone around you now. While your world gets smaller and smaller, it's then you're surrounding yourself, not with yes men, but with like-minded people who genuinely care about you. This game speaks a truth that really resonates with me, and that's you can't fight this world all on your own, giving you the help you need without expecting anything in return, because that's what unconditional love is about, baby. People who want nothing more than to watch you succeed. The bonds and relationships you built make your character stronger in battle and in real life through the confidant leveling and the through the confidant leveling and the stat skill checks. It illustrates that life is better with a good support system. And I know not all of us have that, but here's how I see it. All these characters, for example, have their own problems, personal struggles, and failures. We all have our problems and we all experience the same feelings of fear and pain, almost as if no matter how much we prepare for it, you can't prevent or be ready for failure. No one is better than anyone else. It is one of the most human things we do, and a lot of us fear it. To prove that there's nothing to fear, that no question should be off the table, that breaking boundaries is what it takes to get to where you want to be, that I am just someone trying his best, I'll open up about this. This is where I test my boundaries for being vulnerable on the internet. I lost my job in June and was barely getting by. And I had no backup plan, barely any money left, letting the debt fester until it started to become too big for me to handle. Being unemployed meant I had a lot of free time on my hands, and that made me incredibly lonely. Whenever I'm lonely, I miss people that are bad for me. I miss my exes. I miss an embrace from someone that was in your corner, thinking of what could have been done differently. We could have figured out what went wrong. We could find a magical combination of words that makes everything better and where everyone involved was heard. But feelings are not that simple. So I'd spent my time writing this script, cleaning up my Bumble bio, so I could distance myself from this pain and at the same time not learn anything from this. It's all a life's trials I'd face coming back full circle in these games. I had to go through these things to fully understand it. All these past failures I've had in my life, and this is what rings true in my heart. I will always, time and time again, put my faith and trust into someone that could stab me in the back, than to never have security or trust in someone potentially ever again. That sounds like a dreadfully lonely life. I love my friends. I love that these people say the dumbest shit sometimes, and it literally makes my day. I love their views, their jokes, their generosity. I understand it's hard for people to feel hopeful when they don't know what to be hopeful for, and that's where a good support system can come in. I'm choosing to be vocal and open about these losses because I want people to know that you're not alone. You are not fighting this world all on your own. No matter how sorry you feel or how guilty you feel, it doesn't matter or do anyone any good. It's supposed to be this way because you're not going to learn it any other way. If I try my best every day and I fumble somewhere along the way, that failure is 100% on me and I'll learn from it and move on. In the hero's journey, there's a call to action, something that beckons the main character to come from the normal world that he knows to the special world, learning a moral, atone for a past mistake, maybe even save the world, and return to status quo. Back to normal, but a better normal. It's the building blocks of every great story you've ever heard. Learning that I not only want to be a good man, I want to do right by others by being human, without fear, trying my best every day, because there is no other way. Failure is reality's call to action. You can accept or refuse the call. You can accept responsibility or surrender. If we just accept responsibility, then we have the power to change. It's supposed to be like this. Maybe you're supposed to write your own destiny. It's gotta be hard to be the master of your own fate. But the reward is worth it in the end, because if this was all easy, then anyone can do it. Stoicism is feeling an emotion to its full potential, learning from it, and I feel like I've earned the right to compose myself however I want. You can do anything. You could move mountains if you wanted to. We're all scared of failure when it's really the way forward. There was never going to be a letter from Hogwarts, a radioactive spider bite, or someone to point you in the right direction. It was those failures. It was about getting shot in the head, losing everything, and having nowhere to go but up. It was about kissing a former lover and them not kissing you back, forcing you to move on. It's hard to let go, I know, but sometimes it's easier to let go of all that weight. It was about facing your past and learning to forgive yourself. Maybe not because you deserve it, but because it's the right thing to do. It's about strengthening these bonds, strengthening your heart, feeling unfulfilled so you broke boundaries, laughing in the face of adversity and everyone that doubted you, realizing that you can't fight this world all on your own, to stand with your posse and shout from the rooftops, "We did it, motherfuckers. That's what's up."
Get used to failing. I think at the end of the day, I just want my enemies to listen to my work and be like, why the fuck is this so good?
That's good. I like that.
Life is about wasting time, so you might as well have fun doing it. People are going to think what they're going to think. People are going to do what they're going to do. The antidote to shame could be achievement, but it's really acknowledging that there never really was a reason to feel shame in the first place. When you look back on it, it's all a part of the journey. It's something I've talked about on this channel in the past. How far am I willing to go to show vulnerability on the internet? Maybe breaking these personal boundaries makes people less isolated. These very specific and weird thoughts someone else has had now. Oh, that makes me feel not alone. As long as it helps someone, as long as it makes someone not feel as lonely, it's what makes me feel content. You can't run from yourself. You can only help yourself.
I'm praying to God that you'll fucking catch me.
I'm looking into your eyes, and I'm floating in the blue. I can feel the scars in the shape of your lips, bleeding into my skin. Memories of what could have been. I know you have to leave, but I can't stop myself from asking you to stay. Please stay. A little while longer. Still you'll go. You will touch your soft lips to mine one last sweet time. Maybe in another life, I could kiss all your pain away. Maybe in another life, we could dance with the lights on. Or maybe it's just this song that makes me think of you. Because I only love you when I'm sad.